Hi, my name is Justin Furtado, and I'm on a mission to inspire a million people like you to develop a better relationship within to create a lifestyle and career that is incredibly fulfilling.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this series of the self discovery, self fulfillment, and self actualization workshops with me, Justin Furtado, Human Impact Catalyst. And in this self fulfillment workshop, we will dive into what gives you the most energy alongside with your strengths and your passions, the things that light you up, so we can start really channeling a lot of your energy in spots that will help you become a lot more fulfilled into your life. So before we dive in, I'd like to, just break down the workshop agenda. Again, everything that I try to talk about and my coaching philosophy is around beginning within, because again, there are so many outside stressors, pressures, and other things going on in the world that really influence us, that oftentimes we forget to go within and do the work. So this is really an opportunity for a space for you. And I'll go and break through the expectations, because I really encourage you to set aside an hour of your time. And the important thing is yes, you got other things to do, but making this time for yourself, think about the opportunities. If you get to know yourself better, you know what brings you energy, you know your strengths, you know your passions better, because I bet you have an idea, but sometimes you have to do the work. And this is about doing the work right now, and it's about turning off all distractions, tuning out all distractions. Do not disturb on the phone, close out all of their tabs, let the people know, right? If you have some people that are, whether it be a partner or some friends, let them know that you're busy for this next hour. You're on a meeting with yourself to do your best work. And that's what it's all about. You got to give your best when you're doing these reflection exercises and activities. That's how you're going to make the most of the workshop, because I want your time is incredibly valuable. And the more effort, the more focus, the more the passion, the more you can come from your heart, the better you're going to make of this space. Like, this is a space, this is an opportunity for you to really help have me be the guide. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to try and do it as much talking. I'll set up the expectations, I'll give a little bit of my insight, but this is yours to run with. And that's why we begin within. We don't begin with Justin Furtado. I'm just your guide. So everything, all the answers are inside here, inside your heart. And as we dive in, I'll share a little bit more about myself. And if you watched and it took part of the last workshop, you can go to the next slide. But for those, this is your first time exposing yourself to me and my work. I've been in the human development world and in field for the last 5 years with a wide age range, working all the way with 2-year-olds all the way up to 25 as a youth development professional, middle school mentor, college mentor, and teaching assistant. Also, basketball coach, um, international and local volunteer coordinator, and leading a team all the way to Butte, Uganda, facilitating conversations, helping people kind of go within. Outstanding community service of the year, because I believe we can learn so much about ourselves when we serve others. I actually try and have the approach that I am a servant leader, and I learn more about myself the more I engage with other people. And right now, I'm just a young adult mentor and coach. So I coach people on how to have a better relationship with themselves so they can design a more fulfilling lifestyle and career. So my fulfillment journey, and this is a little different than my self-discovery journey, and it's really definitely taken place in the last year of like reflecting on what brings me the most joy. So I kind of had to go back in childhood and really recognize, because a lot of times when we become adults, we kind of lose our sense of our play, and sports were such a huge thing for me growing up. And who are some of the most impactful and influential people in my life were my sports coaches, and people that gave this little goofy white dude an opportunity and a chance to play on some travel teams. And for me, that's my role now. is I'm a great coach, but that's also because I took inventory of my strengths. My strengths are listening to people and guiding, and that's why I'm a coach. Great coaches, they actually listen more than they talk. And it's funny because we're here in this workshop and I'm not able in a spot to be able to listen to you. And that's the great part about my one-on-one coaching is I just listen really. And I give you some thoughts and pieces, but that's later on. I want you to get really, really clear on what your strengths are and what lights you up in terms of recognizing your passions. So recognizing my passions, it's just like it's connecting with people, it's inspiring people, it's doing work with humans. And I'm not a I like numbers, I like understanding structure here and there, but for me it's like when I'm at my best, when I'm happiest, when I'm feeling most passionate, it's when I'm around something that just lights me up, and that's human growth. I love watching people grow, whether it be in sports, personally, professionally. That lights me up. That's what really lights me up, and that's why I'm on the path to being a coach and being someone, a writer, an author, a content creator. Making videos, making workshops, being a facilitator because I love seeing that growth. Now, let's dive in. Enough about me, and it's time for you to lock in. This is your space, your opportunity. So, I'm going to give you an activity. We have 3 different activities, and after I explain each activity, you're going to pause and you'll take at least 5 to 10 minutes for each activity. If not more, it's okay if you need more time, but just give yourself the most focus that you can. You'll get the most out of it. So, our first activity is the energy activity because we got to understand what gives us energy, but most importantly, what drains our energy. So, what I want you to do is I want you to grab a blank piece of paper. And if you don't have a blank piece of paper, that's okay. You can just make a list on lined pieces of paper. You get one side can be what gives you energy, and the other side can be what drains your energy. And I actually recommend doing the drains your energy part first because it's really important. I think, especially as we're young and we're figuring out what our place in the world, what doesn't give us energy, so we don't put our attention and energy there. Obviously, sometimes we have to do things in life, but we can minimize. What can we limit to the draining energy? And then, what gives you energy? So, question to ponder while doing the activity, like experiences. Like, is the experience of going to an amusement park, does that give you joy? Does that drain your energy because there's too much going on? In terms of sports, when you're playing pickup basketball, when you're doing something with physical activity with friends, is that what brings you energy, or maybe that drains you? What activities bring or drain your energy? Like, doing taxes, does that give you energy? Doing spreadsheets, does that give you or drain you energy? Some of these things, is it connecting people? Is it activities? Is going on a hike and going on a bike ride? Because this is also about how you can fill your cup outside of work as well. So all the activities, I'm talking work and personal, professionally related, all going to drain and give. And then what kind of people do you like being around? You like being around positive or upbeat people, or do those people drain you because you're like, oh man, they have too much energy? What is it? It's going to come from within you. So I want you to spend at least 3 to 5 minutes on each category, writing down as many activities, experiences, or people for each. And try not to write down specific names, more so characteristics. I don't want you to put people in a box. Think about if there's someone that bothers you and drains your energy, think about the characteristics that bother and drain your energy versus putting a label to their name. It's just a characteristic. You're going to be able to understand like what you don't like about that specific person, or maybe it's the one person that you really love and you admire. But don't write their name. Remember, write what you admire about them. And I'll give you this space. You're going to pause. I'm going to get a drink of water, and then when you're ready, hit play, and we'll dive into the next activity. Okay, so you just completed the finding what gives and drains your energy. That's wonderful. That's great. And that's a great place to start. And that's why self fulfillment is all about knowing your energy, knowing your strengths, knowing what lights you up, your passions. So we're identifying our strengths again. Make sure that you're giving that 5 to 10 minutes to do this activity. It's going to be a couple of questions to really go further. And if you want to go even further on strengths, I actually, part of my one-on-one coaching program is I will give you an access code to a strengths test, one of the most recognized in the world, and I will help you seep through that. But here's a good place to get started, get the ball rolling, get you thinking about some of your spots where you can make the most of your strengths. So the three questions I want you to answer in the next 5 to 10 minutes are: what are three things that you are just naturally good at? And I'll kind of go at this and give you my answers. I am naturally really good at connecting and being with humans. In terms of, I'm a good listener. I'm good at making people feel like they belong in a group. So my ability to connect, that's one thing I'm naturally good at. I know that there are at least three things you are naturally good at as well. Think about the things that just kind of come natural to you. Like, you may have worked really hard on some things, and that's great. But what is your kind of that zone of genius? And in terms of genius, what knowledge or expertise do you have that obviously it came a little bit more naturally for you, but in terms of how you approach life? And let me break down again knowledge or expertise as well. So for me, like, I played sports my entire life, so I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to how to play sports. So is it teaching sports or is it playing sports? What's that knowledge? The more specific you can get on your knowledge, the better. So just make sure you write it out. And if you're kind of overthinking about it, if it comes in your mind, just write it down. It doesn't mean you have to have a PhD in it. It's knowledge or expertise, not the best expert in the world. Just what comes, what kind of knowledge or expertise. And remember, think about the questions that people are asking you and what are personal characteristics that you are most proud of. So for me, it's that I'm positive. It's that I love learning. So some of these things that you can kind of bring in, like, what do you love about yourself? And maybe you love that you are great at talking about Star Wars, or you are great. No, that's not a characteristic. Maybe you love that you are detail oriented. Those personal characteristics that really help you stand out. And think about it, they all kind of blend in, and just write down whatever comes to mind. And if you're having trouble, think about the questions again people ask you, and think about when you do well in certain situations, what characteristics come up. So if you do well at the front desk, maybe you're a very patient person when you're working with customers, right? And so when I'm with kids, I know that I have a certain limit of patience. Like, I'm sort of patient, but I wouldn't say that's my best characteristic. So again, pause, take 5 to 10 minutes to answer these questions. This space is for you, and the more focused and the more present you can be, the more you're going to get out of this. So pause the video, and again, I'm going to get a drink of water, and then you'll take on the next activity. So, what lights you up? We got to help discover our passions. You might have a good idea of this. Maybe you're passionate about writing. Maybe you are passionate about social media. Maybe you're passionate about whatever it is. All right, but we deserve to live an inspiring life every single day. Obviously, there are going to be challenges in life that are going to be uninspiring. But the more we can invite and take part into what lights us up and our passions, the more fulfilled and engaged we are going to be with our life. So, here are the questions that I want you to ponder for the next 5 to 10 minutes. It's going to be more like the strengths exercise. And just think about, and you can either write this down or you can draw different things. You can put a cup, and you can write, some of the things that just light you up. Like, These are the questions that I want you to think about a little bit more. But if there are other things that come up, please, by all means, go deeper. And something I want you to keep in mind before I even ask these questions is invite these answers to come from your heart or come from that gut feeling of what really lights you up. It's not the brain, it's not logic, it's what really emotionally fuels you up. Fuels and fills. Nice. I did a nice combined word there. So, what were your childhood passions and interests before, you know, becoming an adult, kind of shirked or, just took you off a different path, right? You come to be an adult and you think you have to do all these different things and that you can't be a child anymore, but play is actually really important. So what are some of your childhood interests and passions that maybe you still do, but maybe that are deep down and you've been hiding? What curiosities do you have? What piques your interest? Now I'm talking being specific, I'm talking about, maybe it's Star Wars. Is Star Wars what lights you up? Is that what lights you up? Or, maybe it's basketball and coaching. What curiosities do you have? Kind of follow that. And maybe it is, again, it's medicine, it's public health. Think about the things that you're just curious about and you want to start connecting the dots around. And this one, it might be a little darker. And if you need to take a minute, but at the same time, we all end up in the same place and we all, have an experience on this time and it's a finite amount of time. So before death, what would you like to do? And I know that's a big question. And if you're not ready to answer it, that's okay. But it is an important question to ask yourself to live a fulfilling life. So you're not living someone else's life. Like, what do you actually want to do before, the clock runs out? Something to think about. Where does your heart lie? Is it travel? Is it, be a public speaker? Is it be a writer? What are those things that are coming to you that you can kind of, start to think about? And then what activities, this is my favorite one, do you lose all sense of time with? Because these are the ones that just bring me the most joy. It's not the ones where you're sitting and you're watching the clock and it's like watching paint dry. What are the activities that you just lose all sense of time with? And the more activities you can invite, into your life that you just lose sense of time with, the better. So again, I'm going to give you 5 to 10 minutes. And if you need more time, please, by all means, take more time. But these activities, the more you can invite them into your life, the more fulfilled you're going to be. So again, pause this video, stay focused and lead and listen to your heart and what your body is telling you. Okie dokie. So now, last 3 action steps to take, because you can't just do a workshop and then put it by. If you don't practice the principles that you learn in the workshop, to be honest, it's not going to work out. So I want you to go back to what gives you energy. And I want you to do at least one of those activities from that list this week. So you can kind of start practicing a habit of inviting activities into your life that give you energy. And number 2, we're talking about strength, something to go even deeper upon is find a trusted friend, trusted family member, trusted colleague, whoever it is. Make sure it's a trusted person, can't just be someone random, and ask them what they think your strengths are. Because oftentimes getting that third perspective is an incredible way to have an even better understanding of how we show up and the value we bring to the world. And the last one is get lost in one of your passions this week. Those activities that you just lose sense of time. And and the passions and what lights you up and what gives you energy are probably going to be pretty similar, but they might be different for you. It's gonna be up to you. You're gonna know more than I am about that. It's going to be better if they're different activities. I'm guessing both will give you energy, but there's something about that passion that really lights you up. There's other things about energy. Again, last thing, The sooner you take action, the more likely you will be to continue the self fulfillment process. You are going to feel more fulfilled. The more activities, the more you are aligning with your strengths, right? This is the gifts the universe gave us. It's the opportunities we have in front of us. The opportunity we have to be us, ourselves, in this crazy world where they're trying to have us be literally everything else. All right. But you are you. And the reason you are here and taking this and doing this workshop is because all the answers are within you. So take your time. Please invite this into your life. It's about living a more conscious, engaged, and fulfilled life. Now, I really encourage, again, like I mentioned a couple of times in this, let's connect. Let's set up a free one-on-one self-discovery session and see if my coaching program will be a great fit for you. Because again, it's great to go within, but having that third person, that caring person to really help listen to you and your aspirations and what fills you up and what you're being challenged with is a great way to continue that self-fulfillment, to be more conscious, to feel more engaged in your life, and to be more fulfilled. So again, you can find me on Instagram at Justin Furtado, Twitter at Justin Furtado. And if you found this valuable, please share it with a friend, colleague, or family member. This is how we help the world become more conscious, more engaged, and more fulfilled. It's not about me. This is my message and my work that I've done from finding my strengths, what gives me energy, and what lights me up. This is what I'm meant to do. It's not about me. It's about you, and it's about you going inspiring other people in your community and in your circle to go and live their lives. Because again, it's so easy to live other people's lives. It's a lot harder to live for you and go inside and do the work. So I applaud you for doing this workshop. Great work. And I'd love to hear from you. Even if you don't have the time, just send me an email. I just love to have a conversation with you. Thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to talking soon.